series against the team at a similar level, you don't expect this performance. This is a drop-off completely.
100%. Again, there's no reason for them to be happy right now. They set themselves into the brown halls, going to boost up an M4 to look over through the window, a pop dog. Zyphon can't do much to resist them, however, because there's nobody out there at the moment. Ivy challenge from Vitor. Got Cabby on that left, mollies and smokes to the left and right. The drive CT's out of position. Eklot focusing on this B attack. Tap of Lucky trying to get a kill in. Gets a kill back on Mikey. Lost Becky in the interim, however. Bombs on site and will get planted. Late lurk from one man can come through, but they're going to have to stall out for all that time while he wraps over.
And that late lurk shouldn't come out to A and into Con. I think that late lurk should stay in the brown halls. What a shot for the in-game leader.
Eli gets Cabbies. That's only going to aid them here. Detour catching one of the rotation. Maybe it does come through to the A-bomb site and out towards Z, where Zyphon has got no point of contention here. Will fight, will fall. Lucky is consigned to the same fate. 13-6 for Eklot. Dominant as you like it to be. Only a small CT comeback for Sashi to make the scoreline look good. But let's not lie to it. That was a disaster performance from the Danes.
They came into train as Sashi and left as shitty. I mean, that was awful. That was a shocker out there on train. Lost him completely.
That has got to be better than Payback's a bitch. That's one hell of a call, Dwayne. Well done. Very well done. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, look, it's a very, very good way of describing it, because you're right. Like, they should have done better on train. It's just their map pick, right? Played it 16 times in the last 3 months. Had a hell of a win streak, right? Coming into this series, having beaten Sinners, having beaten Nine, having beaten Eyeballers on land. Yeah, they're not the highest playing names, but you've got a 4-map win streak. You're doing well on this map. This was not well at all.
And when we consider that this is 2 organizations with the same cause that have previously won a Compass tournament, one that got Sashi to the LAN and one that just got Eklot a normal tournament victory, you are expecting a competitive game. You're expecting both teams to be giving it all where there's not much to differentiate the two. Instead, we had an awful performance from the Danes, one in which the constant force buys at the start, I won't blame them, it hurt them though, didn't it? I mean, they weren't able to force that reset. They never quite got the force buy win. And what you ended up finding was, not only was it an 0-5 deficit, but AKs are in the hands of Eklot. Confidence is high. They're taking fights. They're taking duels. And they just weren't losing duels for the most part. So very underwhelming for the Danes. I think they're going to struggle to come back in this series.
Yeah, I have a bad feeling about that as well too. Ancient coming up next, of course, the pick of Eklot, which by default gives them favoritism because they wanted to play this map, right? They didn't want to play train, and they've just done that on train as well. So it's just like, yeah, not a good outlook right now for the Sashi side. Might not be getting their 2-0 in the Swiss stage. It might be a 2-0 in the series instead for Eklot. How one-sided is it going to be? Can the Danes resist? Can they get a 3rd map in the series? We'll find out after the break.
She said she loves you.
But she can't love me.
But I love you.
I won't play window anymore.
What's going on?
Play your role. 1xBet. On to the next one.
YaLLa Compass 2025 season.
If anyone peeks through, they're both dead. They're both dead in the smoke. Bomb drops, popped up behind it at the edge of.
Away with a kill, but quick trade back from Aerial. Still through the
YaLLa Compass 2024 champions.
YaLLa, let's go!
Well, in many ways, you could describe Sashi's performance in that first map up, but none of them were very good. A pretty dominating affair for YaLLa on train. Sashi's own map pick falls by the wayside, and now we are looking down the barrel of a 2-0 because Ancient is up next to Egg. And this is a map that, unlike Train, Sashi do not have a positive record on. Now, whilst you could certainly have an argument about how opposites affected in that last map up with the 4-match win streak they had coming into Train, I don't think the same is going to apply in reverse with the map losing streak they have here on Ancient.
Even looking at Sashi, you got to kind of look at not only the results recently, but think about when was the last legitimately good team that they beat out on Ancient. And it's almost 2 months ago against Partisan. All the wins recently have been against kind of dogs and like low-level tier 2, tier 3 squads. Whereas for YaLLa, they've beaten Gun 5 on this map recently. They've beaten even OG. They've beaten Nemega. We're talking about top-end tier 2 teams within, what, the last couple of weeks. So I have no doubt whatsoever that it should be a 2-0. I do think we're going to get an increased performance, though, from Sashi. I think we're going to get a much more competitive game on Ancient than certainly what we got out there on Train.
Well, I certainly hope so, because I don't think anyone can be happy with how that last map went down. And if Hunden's not there talking to the boys saying this was unacceptable, if the IGL's not there saying this was unacceptable, if someone's not there at least saying we shouldn't have had such a one-sided match against us in that last one, then I think something's very, very wrong with how Sashi have played up in this one. But I think that you're right in terms of the assessment of what they can do here on this map of not being good enough. I mean, their recent results haven't hit double digits. They lost 13-3 to Passion UA a few days ago. And as you mentioned, of course, those victories since that Partisan matchup, the teams that they've beaten, Roller Coaster, Novak, and an Eyeballers in a 16-14. Like, you know, the only other somewhat decent but not so decent name was still a push to the overtime. So, like, yeah, you're not talking about very good maps at all. Not a very good map here at all for Sashi.
No, and for YaLLa, this is the perfect way to sort of bounce back, right? You were really frustrated with how last night went down, getting eliminated out a few competitions, beating teams that you should be able to easily, and then end up finding out that you're losing best of threes. You've come into today, it's an early game, it's the start of the morning shift, and you put up a really good showing. Now, I loved the perspective of the CT side, right, which is constant pressure, always looking for jewels, always taking space away, and I think Ancient's a perfect map for that.
Yeah.
Take heavy mid, take heavy lane. I don't think you're playing in a map that is very sort of mobile, where there's not a lot of activity, not a lot of creation. This is going to go perfectly for YaLLa. What Sashi need to try and figure out, especially on their city bases, is how can we set up some of our new faces? How can we set up someone like Zyphon, who's meant to be one of our star players, Becky, who's the young player? We need everyone to be stepping up tenfold if we even want to compete on Ancient today.
Yeah, no, I mean, YaLLa's playstyle from Train is going to translate so well into map number 2, and I have no doubt that that's going to be the ultimate downfall of Sashi. Their T-side starts, or T-side half, I should say, is going to be a very little rough affair, so I think the first half is going to be very important to them. CT side to start things for the Danes. Pistols are live. They need a good showing here.
It seems as if it's going to be a B-split, take cave, go out towards ramp as well. All about first contact. Now, they're scaling, they're not making any noise, and Zyphon and Cabby are trying to take mid-space away.
Leaning up with a Julie and a USP set. Molly's are sent in by YaLLa. The shelf starts to get taken. The bomb's going to make its way in from caves. There's no danger to this backstab. Not like anybody was, though. They quickly make their way in. CT's finally going to kill out for Becky as they start things off with first blood. Nubik trades it. Iceberg goes down to 3 teammates involved, but he can't get anything. Nubik and Eli trying in for even more. Zyphon and Lucky split apart. Lucky going down. Zyphon alone, 1 on 3, without a kit, without a smoke, without any way to make this retake happen. This will be a pistol win for YaLLa.
I thought Sashi did everything quite right there, Jade. They're taking info into mid. They're getting a read of the round. They've got a perfect flashbang set up towards long. The problem is, individually, they let themselves down. They're not able to get the trade frags. Everyone is almost pretty much losing jewels. Zyphon is attempting this clutch, but he's just run out of time completely. And YaLLa are going to be able to get the pistol win, and they'll be very satisfied with not only have we put up a good performance out on train, but we've started with a pistol win, and then we're just kind of being on that front foot again, aren't we? We've always got the lead. We're always making it uncomfortable for the Danes.
Solid stuff for the T-side line. A way forward into the rest of this matchup. All they have to do is keep this contention going and deal with Sashi as appropriate here. They're going to force the issue into the second round of the CT side. You mentioned, of course, their aggressive buy strategy, and that's going to come out full-fold here, even on the defensive.
And Nubik seems as if he wants to charge up ramp. The timing's pretty good for the HE to do some chip damage against Becky. And now Nubik is just scaling. He's just waiting for a contact. He might be able to get a good timing against this long individual.
He's been seen now. Several players are going to face him down. The AK gets credited with the kill. Nubik,
yeah.
Wonderful shot. Mac 10 and Mikey not quite as successful, but the bomb site's been taken. That's the bottom line.
And now it just has to be another instant save. And it's just the sharpness. I mean, the free aim there from Nubik. It's a shame that Iceberg gets that kill after they've already retreated. Because if they were sort of backing off and they maybe get to Red Room and then that kill comes in, you might start second-guessing yourself and thinking, oh, yeah, actually, let's start going for this. But the call's certainly been made. Sashi will likely buy around what's saved up moving into that next round. And that's something that you can be watching out for quite consistently from Nubik. Just catching timings, working ramp in mid to late rounds. And right there, clotheslining the 2 CTs.
Decimation of the highest order. Iceberg hoping he can get a quick drive-by, but nobody's going to face him. YaLLa know how much it's important to protect the economy state here. They only lost a Mac 10 and a rifle. The rifle, I think, was even a Galil.
I hope he appreciates as well that we call him Nubik, because every other English stream I watch, everyone's like, MBQ, MBQQ. It's like, come on, boys. Got to know the local players, got to know the scene.
We did call it MBQ for a little bit of time, and then we were told it's wrong.
It's funny. I feel like some players just don't care. Like, I remember Spook, right? You'd call him Spooky, Spook, Flames, Flamesy. It feels like the players just never say anything. So it's just quite easy to... I mean, remember even Elian and a Lion. There were a lot of times that we look at players, and for years we've been saying the wrong thing.
There are worse things to be worried about.
Like Sashi's performance.
That's a big worry on the part of the Danes. Ball fast map, slow to start in the second. YaLLa once again taking full control of the situation. At the very least, they get one out of that Mac 10 they saved from the previous round, but that's as far as it goes for Lucky. Little bonus $600, but nothing that will lead to a round or a steal or damage of significance for YaLLa's side. AK here towards red, seeing the last 2 players taken one. Does lose his life to the second man. They probably want to hunt Iceberg down to make sure that AK does not stay in the CT hands. Try and smoke off that red top mid angle, go back towards the B bomb site, save the gun. And that's where YaLLa will be the hardest to reach him from. So success in the post round, but again, it's going to be 3-0 for YaLLa. 3 players will stay alive. Mikey might still get the hunt in, but generally it's all YaLLa for now.
And this might be the weakest the Tier 2 Danish scene has looked since I can remember. Even when you think back a few years, that Bird from Sky roster with Cabby that was on Ecstatic, they did quite well. They were a top-end Tier 2 team. And then you had, what, the Queenix, Kragen, Patty, a sort of Gaming Gladiators Ecstatic team. They made it all the way to the major. What have you got now? A Sashi side that's struggling, a Trick side that's not really doing anything. TSM have pulled out. Astralis Talent, they've now dropped their team. I'm looking at a scene that was flourished, really fulfilled, and now I'm thinking, mate, they've got the scraps.
one of the holdovers from the international meta. Every team going in the international rosters, taking the best of each of the individual countries they represent, and going to be in the same to a certain extent for the tier 2 space. And Denmark was the one holdover that was able to actually find decent, talented players and have a decently healthy scene. But you are right. YaLLa facing the Danes' first full buy here, hoping they can turn that narrative back around, hoping they can do something in this opening rifle basis. The opportunity to get their opening round on the board. Nades on that smoke. They're aware of the player that's out there. Nubik going to cover off the AWP angle. Is he going to watch the shelf? I don't know if he will. Mikey spam down damage. HG closes out against the man. The player in red room will reveal himself as Lucky, seeing nothing of the extension. All of YaLLa will hold up in mid. Shot to the first, misses. Forzy gets his kill. 5 on 3. M for the lineup. A couple layers out from Zyphon. And Forzy can trade him back to 2 men alive on Sashi. And as they react towards the A rotation, the B bomb site starts to get taken.
Yeah, Sashi just looked rubbish. I mean, right there, you've got an AWP that's in a position where as soon as you lose the fight, you can't even fall back. You're not in a tight enough angle where you can go back to safety. Individually, they're just not on it today. I don't even think they attempt this retake. 2v3, Lucky util, Becky without a kit. Just no point.
Bomb plant succeeded. Nothing they can do to deny it. Probably nothing they can do to retake her. Becky does get the kill on Forzy, so maybe 2v2 ensues, but they're not checking for live. Kill found the first and the second. Leading by example with his 2 kills. 3 for Forzy in the round. And a 4-0 for YaLLa. This is starting to get worryingly similar to how Train began, and well, it may well be worryingly similar to how Train ended as well.
I mean, I'm even looking at the Danish scene at the top level. Astralis, I mean, 5 majors in a row that they haven't qualified to. Heroic is no longer Danish. What our best Danish team is OG, which is a Danish core, but in an international roster. You think back, what? Maybe even 4+ years ago, maybe we used to have 2-3 Danish teams at every major. We had Astralis that were one of the most decorated teams of all time. What has happened to the Danes?
They're burning to a crisp right now. Iceberg tagged on Molotov in Cave. At least there's been a decent duel out towards main. Ditto tagged to 4 points of health. Map control in other areas for YaLLa. Mikey in red. Smoking off the doorway so the CTs can't get access to him.
Cabby just jiggling down here from Donut, playing a little bit of an off angle. Need to try and get as much support out of this M4 in terms of a bait for your teammate as Zyphon. Cabby's been seen. The fight comes in. Cabby does win it out, but he doesn't know about the mass players towards A main.
I don't know about the player towards red on the CT side. 1 kill found only for Mikey. Lucky can trade, and this becomes a little bit more doable now with 4 HP for Dittor going down to Cabby real quick. Second headshot on Nubik, 3rd man seen as well. And Sashi may have spun this round back around here. Forzy, 1v4, 2 low HP players. But range fights can be taken with rifles in the hands of Zyphon and Iceberg. And the backstab of Iceberg as well. Seeing his man, getting his frag and getting the first on the board of Sashi.
Really good work from Cabby. First off, you're in a position at default where if you get mollied, you're basically just done for. So you try and widen up the angle slightly, try and get that first bullet off before the util comes. And what he ends up finding is he gets 2 beamers. And that M4 is now turned into a Deagle masterclass. Here it is again. The second shot, crisp onto Nubik. And I think we just want to see moments like that a little bit more consistently. See them in every single gun round rather than just every so often.
They get their start much earlier here on this map. Tactical timeout coming in immediately for YaLLa. Then comes the next big concern, the follow-up from Sashi. I think we've seen quite a lot over these matches in the online tier 2 space, the problems of teams inconsistently repeating their performances from previous rounds. It was a good steal there from the Deagles and the pistols that they had, a very broken buy overall from Sashi.
4 AKs being recovered. I don't think you can ask for a better setup, but you just need to pounce on it, don't you?
They might well still do here with YaLLa being in a broken buy state of their own. No Kevlar for Eli. We passed the AWP off to Forzy, so try to set up one of his stars, a Tech 9 in hand. And we'll lead the main T-side force into A main.
Cabby is in a good rotating position, and he's put a resmoke down. They'll probably have to go through this. The issue is they don't have a HE to break.
Wait it out for now. Iceberg just sees the man at red. Timing well enough. Nubik goes falling. Their lurker is out of the round. The AWP is hoping that someone is seen beyond this smoke when it fades, and they are setting up secondary pieces of utility to go for the execution here, but their hearts are not in it here. Eklot's starting to back out.
Well, they need to retake space because they know that Iceberg's cleared out all of lane and got that kill towards Red Room. So before you can act towards A, you know that there's going to be a fairly heavy stack. So you need to retake some space somewhere, whether that be elbow or back out towards the B doors. You've got to take some leverage in the round.
Not being allowed in, though. The Molotov at elbow. The AWP watching Temple. Well, something spooked him here. Sashi are rotating away from the A bomb site and back into B and red and mid. Now the utility starts coming in, so there's time stalling from Eklot. We're in a little bit more of a lighter defensive, but it's still going to be tough here. AK on the corner. Oh, completely whiffed by Cabby. HE at the smoke and CT spawn will cop it open for a moment. They can try and counter-wrap, but Dito still gets his kill. Iceberg traded with HE from range. Player at the edge of the smoke goes out. The bomb's in the open, though. 2v2. Eklot needs to act to get it down right now, and the CTs have crossfires locked in. They've got no HP, so they don't think they've got a round here. They'll back away and save.
A good utility usage of that break out there in CT, because everyone just starts panicking. You've got Eklot that are trying to take fights towards CT spawn, out to Donut. There's just too many areas and too many close markers. A couple of rounds in a row there from Sashi and Eklot. They're just getting a little bit of pressure against them now. It's been uncomfortable for the last couple of rounds. You've held on to weapons. The economy is completely lopsided, so you have to try and force it up, but even the limitations kind of show that Forzy and Mikey need to make a play. Because you're the one with the AK and the AWP, you've not only got to be striking for an opening kill, but you probably need a multi-frag between the two of them.
And swap straight in for Forzy. Hearing players coming in left, right, and center. Flashbang keeping Becky blind. He has no idea of how close that orb is. He doesn't get the second shot, though. His teammate can trade. Ditor gets right back on their backsides. He gets an advantage in. Tech9 of E-Life can't follow it up, though. M4 in the hands of that Deagle player will plant the bomb. 3v3 on the retake. A backstab coming in all the way from the A side, though. They might act too quickly here for Sashi to allow this to be effective on Eklot's part. Low HP for Detour. Mikey closing in. HE sent 11 HP for the central side defender. That AK needs to act right now. He sees his man. He gets his target. He locks in a 2 versus 2. Detour so close. And the smoke. They run right past him. He runs out of ammo. And Mikey's there to trade back his demise. Eklot barely cinched the round.
Just a lazy clearance from Becky down there at ramp. It's an unlucky timing in which she doesn't see the player get out towards the left-hand side, but he's put the HE out, and there's just not even a little check. Just a little glance. Instead, it's tunnel visions. It's down from ramp. And for Lucky, you can't be getting one there. When your teammate has gone down early, you've got to be stalling for time and putting up mass damage. And that's an uncomfortable one, because Eklot will probably feel, with the buy state, that they shouldn't have had much of a look in.
The fact they got that round is testament to their class. Got another broken buy to follow it up with as well. HE sent down towards K to try drive Iceberg away, which he'll be successful on that campaign for Eklot. Limitations to the buys for Sashi will still be in effect, but not quite as many as Eklot have. 1 AWP and 1 AK, Galil and 2 MAC-10s. That bomb yet to truly commit at the moment. They're trying to suss out any position the CTs might hold directly on the bomb site itself. Mid-fight could also come in as well with that player at pit. Couple of angles of contention, but nothing that seems to deny this bomb from crossing and going down.
And the E-Live is waiting for that smoke to clear out from long, get the bomb plant in. This is a tough retake because there's not the best of util here from Sashi. They need to try and get a pick, and they need to get one in quickly.
And that mid player's going to go ahead and join the pack. Zyphon is backed up to watch from shelf. Teammates in the back lanes. Smoke towards short's going to clear. A smoke that tried to go down towards ramp, I assume, has been missed out there. And now all 5 are set to the back lines of both respective sides. Forzy watching. Contact, another smoke comes in to block his position. E-Live just wraps that corner and gets 2 out of the MAC-10. The AWP is blocked. The M4 still can't get a secondary kill. Zyphon struggling. All sorts of messy sprays across the board of Sashi. Lucky will try get an exit, but it will not be successful even in that regard. YaLLa may lose 3 players to the bomb, but they've gained so much more than that. Minimum 6 on T side.
How is the ramp smoke even being missed? There wasn't even any pressure on that retake, was it? It's not as if the T's are sort of fighting for long or maybe going aggro shelf to cut the rotation. They gave respect in that 5v5. They're sitting back, they're playing defensively, so there should be no reason why you miss util. And maybe that just categorizes the day. It just sums it up for Sashi.
You said that this is going to be on-the-day performance-based matchup, that maybe it might come down to who's firing all cylinders. Well, how about the opposite? Sashi firing on no cylinders. Just looking at the way they take the fights, looking at the utility basis, the mistakes made in decision-making. Becky, obviously, with that ramp duel is a perfect example of that.
I just wonder whether they've made the wrong decision with some of the moves, Jay, with some of the players that they've been bringing in. I mean, you had, what, Mistar and Alltex in the past? I don't know. It just feels off. Like the tactical, that was always something about Sashi, right? The tactical depth. That was where we gave them the advantage in so many best of threes, where we felt like they could outclass opposition was timings, utility usage, protocol. And now I feel like that's slipping. And if that's slipping, well, what else have you got? Because they certainly don't have as much firepower as other tier 2 teams do.
It's very true. You would hope it would just be in this one isolated best of 3, but the results in previous tournaments speak otherwise.
And it reminds me slightly with the Quez benching. I remember when that happened, a lot of people were saying, oh, look, it's a good idea. They can get themselves a good an anchor player. Even though Quez's ratings were always quite poor, even though his numbers were very low, I didn't think he was a bad anchor. I thought he understood the system really well. He was a good role player. And it reminds me of when Sprout had Slacks, right? And it was sort of like, he's an underwhelming AWPer. We can get better. And then as soon as they try and get rid of him and they bring someone else in, it's just never the same. And I think that's where the eye test and sometimes looking at statistics can give you the wrong pathway on how you overestimate a player or underestimate them.
They're not players that are going to set the world on fire in any stretch, but they were great for their respective sides, and, well, Sashi is suffering. Can't win the half. Very possible, and I want to say rather likely that YaLLa will take another 10-2 half. Just not been impressed with what Sashi brought to the table today. Iceberg does at least get Mikey, so that's an elbow kill. Man advantage. With OHP upon the man. Abby in the back of that B-bomb site. Third man, fourth man, and fifth man about to join them. And a little bit of time left. Becky can get a kill out past that smoke. Forzzy's orb not connecting. The P250 blind firing. Looks towards the back and does see a man. Newbie better check this corner. Lucky missed his first bullet, but did connect the second or the third. Rifle picked up by him. See the second T-side player and try and hunt for the headshot against this man as well. Eli was trying to fight him back out of the corner as Forzzy does his best to hold on. His teammate falls and so does he, and Sashi find a third.
YaLLa have found themselves on the back foot of a lot of economy game. Even though the scoreline looks quite good, and even though they've certainly been the better team on this team side, we have seen fairly frequently the lack of good gun rounds. There's sort of Galils coming out, there's maybe Tech 9s, and I'm looking at this one and I'm thinking, once more, we're going to see the Mac 10s. Now, previously, the Mac 10s have done well on B, haven't they? Out from ramp and into cave, we have seen them do a lot of damage against those B hits.
Fast up. B-side take. Mac 10 from range. Ditzel's going to finish off the kill. Becky's down. It's fast rush that the TTs can't hold off against Iceberg. Getting nothing for his trouble. Third player in. Lucky peeks into Detour. That is a round done in like, what, 10, 15 seconds? That was quick.
Well, I don't think Becky's good enough at this level. This is another round, similar to Train, right? You're the anchor player. You're against a B rush. How is there no pummeling of the util? How is there no attempt to slow them down? I feel like he gets caught in this mindset of not so much hesitation, but that having your weapon drawn is more important to cancelling a hit. And that probably just comes to a lack of experience. Anchor positions are never easy. You're in what could be sometimes, what, 2, 3 rounds in an entire half where your bomb site's getting hit with pace, and you've got to be the guy to stall and do damage. And every time, he's getting overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So you might be a young player, and he certainly might turn into someone that can achieve quite a bit as years to follow, but I don't think he's lasting here on Sashi. I don't see it in him. It might be harsh, but in the games that I've seen, he doesn't have it.
I mean, it might be harsh, but you have to make harsh decisions to make the team succeed, and someone's going to have to think about that, I think, in the near future, because I think you are right.
It's a result-based industry. If the results aren't coming and you're not putting up the performances, see you later, mate. You've had your chance. That's how cutthroat Counter-Strike is, and when it comes to making roster changes.
Sashi was so convinced that he'd be the future, but... evidently not.
Problem is now is do you think about bringing Quez back? That's sometimes a difficult nature of bringing a teammate that you've benched previously. I mean, how much resources do you have to buy players out? There's a lot of what I would say stable teams. I know there's not been too many successful teams in Denmark, but in the tier 2 landscape, there's a lot of full teams right now. So you're going to have to try and buy them out from one of them.
He's currently on Copenhagen Wolves. So might have some barriers to entry to getting Quez to return. Rifle shot, missed out from Lucky. Backstab of Cabby trying to close in a small sandwich against the T-side line. Seeing those gun barrels, Lucky missing another shot of the AWP. Zyphon does at least get a kill out of the round. Bombs on site should commit, or will it? The B bomb site's been taken by Nubik, and he's called in a counter rotate. No one's at red to see it. They check the site now and recognize what's going on, but look how fast forward this T-side player is pushed. They have absolutely no idea about the challenges around the corner, and Nubik gets his kill in. Second player about to receive. The cavalry's arrived in the meantime. Flashbang catches him off blinded. Becky gets 2 kills out of it. Forzzy's got Lucky. 6 seconds. Bomb needs to get planted, but Becky has shown us up big time in this round. Sashi will close the half with 4.
Well, Eklot are overthinking things there. What they should have done was got the bomb down straight away and then had Nubik late lurking. Because the issue with rotating the bomb when it's already committed is it takes so long to get there. You've got to bring it all the way back from A, through Donut, up shelf, out there on B, and you've got to hope that Nubik stays alive. Now, he gets this first kill, that's fine, but they're not even in a position to plant the bomb yet before the CTs have come in with a flashbang. So just a little bit too late, a little bit hesitant on the call. Getting that bomb down on A would have secured it easily. But look, even with the negative of that last round, that's a bloody good half. That's an 8-4 T side, where now you're going into the CT side. You're going to close this game down quickly.
Yeah, that one blunder certainly cost them that particular round, but I think you're right. Overall, wonderful T side, CT-based statistics as well for Eklot and as well for the Sashi side, so I don't know if they've done enough to make this work. USP's coming out as Eli tries to lock in an opening kill on the B site attack. Becky's going to strike back again. Iceberg ready for the backline. Players a couple of headshots gained by his own part of things. Nubik backed up, takes fights and can't seem to win them out. Forzzy's also low HP. Eklot not allowed to take the map control and work that aggression in the early portion of the pistol, so the pistol will go the way of the Danes.
Dynamo Eklot will just look at the circumstance and say, okay, we are going to be in for a little bit more of a fight of what happened out there on Nuke. We're going to have a bit more of a competitive edge. Let's keep the mental going. Whether they force buy or not, I mean, it's another situation where you've just had a lack of casualties. So they did it out on the last map of Train, but I'd prefer to just see a USP round here.
It's a little bit of survival for Sashi, a chance to start building back a little bit of momentum. Eklot with the full USP stacks running right into a Mac 10 in support. Kill found on first, not the second. AK or Galil on the corner. Seen there for Lucky and Zyphon able to connect on those kills and make sure that nobody else goes falling. It was a straight eco for Eklot. Rifles inbound for them now.
You start thinking about Ancient, about who's the players that are going to be stepping up. Becky averaging a 1.16 rating on this map in the last 3 months. Lucky at a 1.05. Zyphon at the same marker. And then it's Iceberg and Cabby that are down about a 0.8, which is quite low for a team that's playing this map frequently. But maybe that's an indication of the 7 wins and 12 losses in that time window. Zyphon fast out from elbow. Mikey completely blinded, so it is an opening kill for the Mac 10.
Oh, and straight for the smoke on Eli as well for Becky. Faster than the A bomb side. The round's already lost here to Eklot. Beaten by pace. The Danes seem to have had enough of losing.
Sashi are going to give us a decent run for their money out here in the second half. Anytime you've got the MAC-10 in for a good spawn, I think it's a good call to attempt that aggressive move. If it doesn't work, then you can always cancel. You can always end up falling back and retreating completely. Now, if 3 rifles hold on, we can still see a rebuy here from YaLLa, but it depends on whether these lane lurkers catch anything.
Have a look-see. On the B doors. Check from Becky, gets a kill, makes it expensive. Tomas also goes down. M4 forced to fight and will lose his life. So Sashi to equalize here with the damage that they've done. Finally looking decent in this series. How long will it carry on for, though? I'd imagine the tactical will be involved for YaLLa in the next round when they do buy up.
Well, considering that this was 7-2, it's surprising how quickly we've got a tied-up scoreline and how Sashi have given themselves a chance now.
I shouldn't see YaLLa resisting with these upgrade pistols. The Eli gets 1 kill out of the A main. We have seen some stolen rounds so far today, but will this be one of them?
Well, they're trying to press onto Cave. They might get a chance here against the AK. The timing is awkward for Cabby. At least he gets out of trouble there.
And takes very little damage, honestly, until Nubik re-peeks him and gets the kill. Borzy responded to by Becky. Trade back to a 3-on-3. Becky is low HP, though. That Deagle did get a tag against the man. Now they've seen the Deagle up towards Shelf. Siphon's tapped his head clean off his shoulders. AK in the hands of Nubik, though. What can he do to this? They press towards the B-bomb site. The Rifle has a better chance of holding off against them in a 1 versus 3. The Deagle, less so here at Donut. Mikey's trying to spot. Got no util to resist. They're going red instead.
And they're just packing. It doesn't really matter where Sashi go. They can go red to C, T to A, or even red towards B. As long as they're all grouped together, they should be able to have the edge in the round.
And just missed the timing as well for information. That Deagle's still going to search. Will they check him at the right moment? Becky seen, gets the kill. Nubik now set towards Cave. Utility in the hands of one man. Resists well with the spray back. Connects in the second. Becky will trade it. And Sashi take an expensive little bit of loss, but money overall is fantastic. 8 apiece. They have evened the board here.
It's a decent effort there from YaLLa. It looked damaging and it looked threatening at one point. It's a shame that that duel comes out from Dittor, maybe extending a little bit too far. A good check from Becky to watch that backstab. And all in all for Sashi, they're all grouped together, so you know that that's going to go down in that favor. The orb has come out for Forzy. Now, I think the majority of Train and even Ancient for the first half, he's just been rifling, so we haven't seen the big green in his hands too frequently.
No ops on the Sashi side. Forzy at 14 frags of the AWP. Top frag alongside Zyphon. Look at Iceberg here. Forzy's up. Checks the corner. Iceberg gets caught. Advantage held well. 3 players on this A defense will start to look to rotate away towards mid, considering what could be out there, although a donut press may be more appropriate. B site is a little bit light for the number of players that are leaning over here on Sashi.
It looks as if the cities want to retake mid from double donut, double red room. Good re-smoke down towards ramp, because that's just going to halter and slow down the default from Sashi.
Smokes on Cave.
They got such a good read. They know it's a B lane.
Smoke going on towards short as well. Molly sent towards long, which will not spread towards Mikey until later on. He does take a decent fight back. Spray through on the second man. Flash blinded by a little bit, but it's okay because Mikey and Detour have it all on lock. Detour's double. Nubik transferred against, but Detour closes out with a triple, and all's well in the world for YaLLa. 9 back in the lead.
I've really been impressed by the Elives calling in mid-rounds on CT side. We saw it on Train, just being active and always searching for information. And I think Iceberg's just way too late in so many of these rounds. especially when he's on T side. I feel like anytime they have to cancel, they take too long to adapt. They take too long to go in for the exec. And right there's what? Basically 5 players on B, because you've got 2 that are trying to come up from shelf and then 3 that are out there on the back lines. You are just going to struggle massively to open up. And that's a great return. That's one of the best rounds we've seen from YaLLa yet.
He's on the CT side. Start has allowed Sashi to return to evens, but now they're in it to win it. Holding the advantage, not quite as one side as the previous one. M4 to strike back from Eli, taking dink damage on towards Zyphon. The kill found on Mikey, turns on his teammate. Iceberger struck back on Detour. The A side is compromised, and Forzy knows, seeing that Shadow is going to get the kill. Yes, he is. Quick scope back. Nubik at shelf, watching for elbow. Mikey's got Donut on lock, but Zyphon is the key concern, and both these 2 players in mid are exposed, but they do not have vision on the other. This could all come down to one piece of info. Zyphon's about to walk into the M4's face. No! Nubik's turned away, but now he's heard the footsteps, and now he can capitalize upon the kill. He'll know that the B rotation's coming in as well, though. He'll call that out to his teammates. The smoke will assist it, but they won't act just yet.
Cabby's going to struggle to get this bomb across. Nubik hasn't quite caught him on the edge of the smoke, but he knows that Becky's got to be on this B bomb site. They know that they've got to be grouped together.
Open ramp plant. He denies it. Cabby just sneaks it in. Becky in a 1 versus 3. Now's the time to prove us wrong. Free fight to take. Shoulder bait. Jump face of Forzy, and he best similar quick shot. YaLLa back in 2 in the lead.
And we've heard it many times previously that the in-game leader of B, Stick Out and Sinners, has tried to get Forzy back in his team, and it's never really come. The organizations have never been in a position to make that move happen once he was there the first time around. He is easily, in my eyes right now, the best AWPer that we've got in Czechia. I know that Oscar is playing out on Sticko's team of the Inner Circle, but they're not a competitive team. So for that reason, I have to rate the likes of Forzy as number 1. Consistent and strong, and he's shown it in this best of 3.
Clear, obvious, and concise. 10-8 on the board. Nubik pressing on past the smoke. Becky sprayed down, kill found. Iceberg trying to provide support from his teammates who are held up there on shelf. A piece of smoke. I thought he was going to put a flashbang up there. Instead, Nubik's just going to have to defend while dry. Smoke's clear. Sees them. Transfer is unavailable. Only gets the 1 kill out of it. Still got Detour in that corner. Sees the Shadow. Sees 2. Gets 1. And almost a second kill against Lucky. 12 HP. 2v3.
Zyphon out in red rooms had some awkward timings. We saw that in the last round when he tried to get back up towards shelf. Looking behind him, looking in front. He's sort of quite hesitant on which angle you want to be holding.
Eli's pressed on red. Shadow seen. Engagement taken by Zyphon. Pulling distraction away from the B bomb side, which is where the hit's coming down. They have all the info they require on YaLLa, but this could still have enough time for a counter rotate. This donut player may be important. Mikey may well be the difference maker to the execution. Could cut him off from red. Here's those footsteps. Here's him coming. 20 seconds. He's hiding. He's waiting. He's waiting. He's played this to perfection until Zyphon checks it. Forzy's AWP now. Through 2 kills to find. Sees them both. Connects only the tag up. The USP gets brought out against the bomb carrier. The USP is not good enough against the AK. And Zyphon will edge out a triple. Make it 9 for Sashi, trying to bounce back, trying to go to blows with YaLLa.
It's a shame, because Mikey's had a pretty quiet series, and he's played that round perfectly. He's tried to waste as much time as possible. He's hoped that if he can scale on that right-hand side, that both players are going to be tunnel visioned, just because there's not a lot of time to clear out all the bomb site and get the bomb down. It's Zyphon with a very clinical pre-aim, just being ready for that fight. It's a good recovery from him. It's the only way the round is winnable. And then Forzy, well, the con was that one player is low, but just couldn't quite get it with the USP. And Sashi have had a much better T side, and YaLLa are struggling to get good buys together. They get themselves a couple of rounds in a row. Instantly, they get reset, so you're down to what is a half buy. Hero M4, few upgrades of MP9s. Difficult to win a round like this.
Protect their money line to bring the rifles out of the next round. Sashi trying to make this map competitive at the death. Detour, SMG, ready to receive on Iceberg. Doe kill found. Cabby's flash blind and still gets his kill in. Lucky caught Nubik elsewhere. The USP of Forzy can get dink damage, gets so close to the kill on Lucky. 6 points of health. Mikey thinking of fading the smoke, thinks better of it in the end. SMG picked up on Forzy. Eli challenge at elbow. Forzy's going down. Mikey with a decent pickup. Now needs to hold the defensive pretty much on his lonesome scene where that bomb's coming in against him. Eli gets involved against Lucky. Mikey's just seen Cabby, I believe. 2v2 from range. The shell fight in the SMG. Burst fire. Zyphon's tagged. Cabby looks to strike. Still, Eli protects the bomb with the M4 support now. Eli on 6 points of health. Mikey less than half. Some utility upgrades. T's need to fight to reclaim control of lane here. And they're hunting Cabby. They're taking him down. Zyphon alone in the round. Molotov'd away from shelf. Can't afford to take the damage of it. A second one's also available for Mikey. He'll put that up immediately. No, they'll hold back the bomb site. They're going to play for time.
And you might think, does Zyphon save? Does he look at this 1v2 on 24 HP and save? I don't think you can. I think in this scenario, knowing that this is a light and deco, you have to go for this. You have to be confident in the 1v2.
Mikey, HP advantage over this fight. He knows where Zyphon is. He flashbang telegraphs it, slow walks through Cheetah and gets picked up. YaLLa, you said it was a difficult round to win, or they're a difficult team to beat, it seems. 11-9, 2 more to go.
It's just the MP9 at range from the Eli. That tap and burst against the elbow player. I'm surprised how much that did. For Sashi, it looked as if they'd kind of cautioned the aggro move, didn't they? I mean, they had, what, a 4 versus 3? They sort of were able to contest out there towards the top of ramp, out in cave, and then within a matter of split seconds, it's a collapse. Good work from Mikey. He may have let the team down in that 2v2 at Donut, but he certainly didn't let the team down there.
Two to the good. The force back from Sashi to try to go for the execution. They're going to catch off the first man. Forzy holds his nerve to get Becky. Nubik's on site, can deal with the closer players. Zyphon can overwhelm with that Mac 10. Short is smoked off. Long is not until one comes down later on in the round. Sashi will try cross this bomb back. HG's in a 3-on-3 trying to dish out the damage. The bomb plant will not be denied. It will be heard there, though. Damage against Forzy might provide a little bit of an opportunity for Zyphon to swing to that kill. Mike is moving up. Flashbang evaded. Zyphon does not swing towards it, and the man just walks straight into the kill. Advantage for the CT side, but he's caught looking the wrong way. Eli still gets a return, and Cabby's alone. Mac 10 tapped once, revealing himself. The Orpa has revealed himself as well. Onto the smoke, he looks to go. Have to go for the whole stick of the defuse. Flashbang in. Mac 10 doesn't have the stopping power and reloading. 5 seconds on the stick, and there's nothing that Cabby can do. He'll take an exit, but that's all it is. Map and match point for YaLLa.
A good entry against Ditzor. It was the targetization of the Orpa that made it quite difficult. Forzy has just been such a difficult player to deal with because how frequently has he got an AWP pick, but he's just not overextending, is he? He's not getting into positions where he's maybe getting greedy or really hungry for that secondary frag. He's just always falling back and retreating. And it means that he can be so dominant in the mid to late rounds. And Sashi have got themselves basically the same buy as the last round. It might just have to be a ramp rush.
Straight into lane, in towards ramp where Lucky can overwhelm Detour. Nubik is flash blinded, but they can't see him past the smoke. Either Forzy's 2 kills. Oh! A triple on the no-scope! Taken back by Iceberg, a 2v2. He set up his team. Can Eli close? Yes, he can. Iceberg's down. Cabby will respond. And it's Mikey. Might have had an underwhelming series, a quiet one overall. But he's generated impact before. He can do it again. He can do it now. 1 kill is all he needs. And YaLLa would have taken a series.
And Mikey is the donut player, so Cabby knows that he's got to be on rotation, either shelf or CT. So because he doesn't see him CT, he's got to be thinking, right, he went shelf and into cave or down towards bottom ramp. This is a really good 1v1 where he can plant open for CT for Cabby.
Mikey, with his head turned away, look towards the CT spawn. Cabby, I think he might have spotted him. Mikey's leaning up. Smoke on the bomb. To the defuse. Check the back lines. Hold cover as well. Tap it once. Cabby revealing himself. Running out of ammo as well. Spray back, Glock's pulled, M4 at range. Mikey can get right back on the defuse and hold it all the way. Carey's got a chance to reload, but he hasn't got the angle right. And YaLLa can claim it 2-0 in the series. Dominant overall against Sashi. And you mentioned Forzy's tweet in the previous last night elimination. It's going to be euphoric for him and for his side and the way that he was able to contribute to this final round. The 3K on the B defensive. It's a solid win for YaLLa as they go 2-0 in Compass Contenders.
So much better from YaLLa. This is a good showing from them today. I was underwhelmed by their performance against Unity. They go into a matchup where times have been tough. It's been some uncomfortable games, but this is them maybe not so much at their very best, but I think close to their very best. I think we're starting to see some signs of what they were like when they were in Compass Winter, when they were able to go on that really deep run, when they were able to win the entire thing. So definitely a positive sign moving forward. I think for YaLLa, it's just game by game, because what, they've got a best of 3 versus Passion UA tonight. I know Sashi, you've got a best of 3 against Rage tonight. It's just tough to be consistent when you're playing so many games on HLTV.
Yeah, and I mean, look, that's certainly going to affect them to a certain capacity. We obviously were having a discussion of grind versus practice and maybe not working all that well here in the common VRS, in the new VRS system. And so for YaLLa, maybe a rethink of strategy, maybe in order in the near future. But for right now, you are right. Take it game by game, take it tournament by tournament, and just take it performance by performance. So they got a great performance here against Sashi, who weren't able to respond towards them. Forzy tops the board in the series overall, and an appropriate man, of course, the most vocal about the concerns publicly that YaLLa have had recently. And so the fact that he's pulling them out of this victory is all positives in my eyes.
And it's probably a better sign that Mikey wasn't even insane. Oftentimes when YaLLa have a really one-sided performance in a best of 3, it's normally that Mikey, the star player's had a takeover game. He's had like a plus 20 KD, right? He's had some stupid numbers. Whereas in this one, I thought Mikey was quite average. We saw a lot more out of the AWPing from Forzy. Nubik in some of those star roles was quite consistent. Aditor in the anchor always puts up numbers. I think he's one of the most underrated anchors that we have in tier 2 for just how much he brings. So for YaLLa, they'll definitely be happy about today, and they'll be looking at trying to go 3-0 moving into the next official to say, right, let's really capitalize on this contender stage. Let's get into main Swiss.
Yeah, I mean, look, it looks very solid, I think, from how this series has played up for them, and I think the next round could certainly prove to be decent for them. At the same time, I look at the Sashi side and I think to myself, man, you could have had so much more on the contrary, right? Like, yes, you showed a little bit more on Ancient, but that train, that disaster, carrying forward into the first half as well, where they've really showed to be very, very awkward in their stance in general. Like, today is just not their day, it seems.
Well, let's just consider how sort of the start of train went down, right? They lost pistol, they force bought again, and they just kept going, and it ended up being, what, an 0-9 star out there on train. We go into Ancient, and they're 2-7 down. Now, yeah, they redeem themselves a little bit. They get some tight rounds towards the end of the first half and win pistol. If you're a squad that want to be in contention as a top tier 2 team, you can't get off to slow starts like that. You can't afford to be down by those sort of markers in back-to-back maps in the exact same best of 3.
Yeah, not encouraging for their performance in the next couple of weeks. And as you mentioned, of course, there's obviously the series that they have later on tonight as well. It is a bit more of a layup in the sense that Raid should be easy enough for them to take. However, I mean, look, they need to get performances against the higher-end Tier 2 squads if they want to try and prove they still have what it takes to be a high-end Tier 2 squad, because that's what both teams are aiming for. They've been there in the past. They want to try and get towards that again. But in terms of here in Compass, they go 2-1 in, 1-1, I should say, in the Swiss stage, and they'll be playing in round 3's mid-matches over the course of next week. But today, however, we roll on as we continue on with our proceedings in round 2. We move from our 1-0 to our 0-1 games. Amcal will take on Fabbet in a CIS derby in a little bit over an hour's time, so we're going to head towards an extended break. But when we return, we've got more Counter-Strike action, our second best of 3 of 4 for today.
She said she loves you.
But she can't love me.
But I love you.
I won't play window anymore.
What's going on?
Play your role. 1xBet. On to the next one.
YaLLa Compass 2025 season.
If anyone peeks through, they're both dead. They're both dead in the smoke. Bomb drops, popped up behind it at the edge of...
Away with a kill, but quick trade back from Ariel. Still moving out.
YaLLa Compass 2024 champions.
YaLLa, let's go!
And welcome back to Compass. It's time to roll on with our second match of the day. We move from our 1-0 game to our 0-1 game as Amcal do battle with FavBet in the CIS Derby. Once again, I'm Eternal James, joined by Dwight for this secondary matchup, our last of the morning shift, and certainly one that could well have some intrigue around it, mate.
It's probably going to be quite a competitive series. If we're going to look at it on a broader picture, I think Amcal have struggled to play in a lot of ranked tournaments. They've struggled with their VRS ranking, whereas for FavBet, they've had a lot more opportunities, but they've failed to really capitalize on them.
Yeah, so two very different workings to two teams that are still struggling at the same time. So similarities and differences. Equally, at the same time, you look at the way that the rankings are played out and you know that FavBet are ahead of Amcal and actually are improving because of the nature of some of the victories they've had as of late, although I will talk about that form in a second. Let's start with Amcal at the moment because, look, this is a team that people may know as DMS from last year. They had kind of the team kind of fell apart, I guess you could say, after they lost Icy and the drama surrounding that, and there were teams and players that were swapping in and out of the Amcal side, and then eventually they benched their roster and signed this DMS squad instead. So, like, what would be the key benefit to bringing a team like DMS up to an organization like Amcal?
Look, that's a very good question. I think, first off, salaries are going to be a lot cheaper, right? I think you look at that previous Amcal roster, guys like Nickelback that are on there, Crad, that's quite expensive. You've now got a much youther team of inexperienced players. I mean, I'm looking at the majority of the guys. AW's got, what, 300 maps played on HLTV, S-Fade around the same, Kalash at 313, Stinks at under 400. It's only Artfrost that's kind of known on this team, and he's the most recent piece out of anyone.
And that's another question to add on to it, because you've got DMS who were very, very low ranked and were kind of participating in some very substandard performances in other teams and other tournaments that they were playing in last year. And then you've got Artfrost, who is kind of fallen down the pecking order quite a lot, right? You're part of that incredible Spirit Academy side that got the call up to the main team, looked incredible. You get replaced by Shiro, then you go to Paravision, things don't work out there, and now you're here on Amcal X DMS, and it's like, wow, like what has happened?
It's true, but I think this is probably the best move that Artfrost could have made, and so for Amcal. And I'll tell you exactly why, Jay. Artfrost is going to farm at this division. Once you start dropping down and you play weaker teams, he's going to start posting 1.4, 1.5 ratings consistently. And you have to remember, he's sitting on Paravision's bench. Like, he's not playing. So, at least if you come out on loan, he's not going to stay here long. He's probably going to be here 2-3 months tops, and then a bigger team is going to come by, and then that's when Paravision are going to be able to sell him on. I think it's great from Amcal. They can work with finally an experienced piece that's got tier 1 experience. And for Artfrost, this puts his stock up if he starts performing well, which he really should do. And it reminds me of like when Nikodos, right, comes back from tier 1 into tier 2, hits the ground, really took OG to another level. Oscar did the same when he joined up with Sinners. These tier 1 players that drop in divisions will go insane when it comes to individual ability.
Well, 3 maps in, Artfrost is already posting 1.19 on his rating, so that does track in terms of the few matches that he's officially played for Amcal on HLTV. For FavBet on the other side of the board, this is a team that have no major roster changes the last few months. In fact, their last move was about 9 months ago when Marix joined the team officially. The time before that, about a year ago, when Jackie was added to the team. And unfortunately for them, for all of their lack of moves, for their commitment to roster stability, it hasn't really worked up all that well to make it a true run at the highest end.
Well, let's just consider for the moment, what is the Ukrainian power ranking at the moment? How do we rate all of the teams? Bait is easily #1. They've qualified to the major. They've done really well in Tier 2 for the last year or so there's no denying that. I'd say TNL is probably a close second. They won the Level Up Lund event. That's Knife and Flyrax. Those boys are doing quite well. #3, probably Passion UA, right? Kavem's joined, Demka's over there, Warrior 2K, that team's doing quite well in Tier 2. They sort of kicked off nicely. You've got Kodo, I'd probably put them at 4th, and that's kind of the old Bait roster. You've got Captain Kirker there, Amstar, S4, Owner. I would then put Favbet as 5th. Now, what you'll notice with pretty much all of those teams, Jay, there's a lot of roster changes that have happened recently for them, and yet these are the boys that have been together for, what, nearly a year? And yet I rank them 5th out of all the Ukrainian teams.
Just goes to show exactly what kind of level they're playing at, right? Mostly in the C tier, unranked, and in the B tier tournaments, they've had one of them in Galaxy Battle Starter, where they placed 1 to 3 in that particular Swiss stage. So we're really not talking about a huge amount of positivity for them. Despite that, however, their ranking actually is up from the start of the month. Started at 98 in the world, currently 85 is what HLTV has them down at. So I'm not sure where those points are coming from, because their form as well has also been lackluster, to say the least.
Well, they've won, what, 2 out of their last 10 best of 3s on HLTV. They've beaten Chimera and Forza Reload, and they've basically lost to everybody else. And they've lost some notable teams. I mean, you got OG in there, Sinners, Navi Junior, Paravision, Partisan, Monty, teams that we're familiar with. But then you see the losses to Bellic and to Ruby, and you just think that's not good enough. And I'm sure Bondic is not satisfied. I'm sure the whole team being together for such a long time isn't satisfied. They need to be performing at a much higher level. I mean, even the last contender stage that they were a part of here in Compass Fall, they were winning maps, but they didn't win a single series. They went 0-3 in Contenders.
Well, Favbet, obviously, in my eyes, probably have to be the weakened element as a result of just the nature of how their form has been coming into this matchup. The fact you've got Artfrost on the other side of the board, he's going to be a tough little cookie to try and crack here. Although I will say that because it is a CIS derby, I do look at the way that things can work up and see some real wild players coming out, some real unpredictable natures in how this best of 3 could play in. So let's talk map vetoes. Dwayne, walk me through the whole process.
There should be a nuke ban in for Amcal, should see a Mirage ban in for Favbet. In terms of the picks, I know that Dust2 and Inferno has been quite strong as of late from Amcal, and we know that Favbet love their Anubis.
Yeah, of course, Dust2 and Ancient being the 2 most played maps on the board for Amcal, but that Inferno very, very frequently won whenever they do bring it out on HLTV. So Amcal pick first. They will have pick of the litter. Mirage and Nuke are taken away first. Dust2 will be picked in, and as you mentioned, Anubis there from Favbet the same.
Yeah, so, I mean, Inferno is a decider. I think both teams would be fairly happy to play it. They pick it quite frequently. They get a lot of play rate on it. So, yeah, that's exactly how the best of 3 is going to go.
Yeah, I mean, I was wondering if Ancient was going to be like an opportunity for them to utilize those particular those particulars for the Favbet side, because they play it quite frequently. They don't win it a lot, admittedly. Their win rate is actually negative, but it's also a similar case for Amcal. It's their second highest played map, but also 30% of those maps being won. That's 3 out of 10 in total. So, yeah, we're talking about a bit of a bit of common territory there in that Inferno. I like the idea of how it's going to end, and I could see this one going down to 3 maps. I'm not going to lie, much like the last series, I do feel like this one is also very unpredictable, just because of how those CIS derbies can really just go very